Welcome to Speedrunner Showcase, the show that's so grassroots, you can taste it. Today we're joined by a very special guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Twinx.
Very cool. And you set a new PB recently. We're going to get right into it. And we'll hear all about your Marble It Up speedrunning adventures. Let's go. Starting right out on learning to roll. And what was going on at the time of this run? I know you've been preparing for a few things and working on a few things.
Well, I mean, Super Bowl's coming up, and I just, I hadn't touched full game in a while. I wanted to just get into a run and kind of like figure out where I needed to, make improvement. So just kind of jumped into this run here with no practice.
No practice. This was your first run of the day.
It wasn't my first attempt, but it was my first run that I completed.
Okay,
because it made it out of chapter 1.
First full run out of chapter 1, and you managed to get a really impressive PB, and we'll see all about that as we go.
Very big PB.
Very, very big, huge PB, you might say. Chapter 1 going pretty standard. You've obviously got a good handle on the basics of the early game and everything like that, but you haven't been doing full game runs for all that long. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've done in Marble It Up and up to this point?
Well, I've mainly just been working on the ILs, kind of like the main reason I play this game. I just really enjoy playing individual levels and just seeing how far I can push times and whatnot.
Right.
RTA is just kind of new to me. I mean, a lot of people have done it, and it's a big thing in the community, so I decided to start giving it a try.
Sure, yeah, and it seems like your skills that you've built up in individual levels has really translated super, super well to this. I mean, obviously there's new skills involved that you've had to learn, but clearly you've picked this up very naturally.
It's very helpful with that IL practice, yep.
What kind of individual levels have you done that were notable?
I've worked on levels such as River Vantage and Super Jump, and some of the levels that I've been working on recently are levels that just have cool looking skips. Right. I tend to gravitate towards levels like that.
Yeah, you got to mention in the River Vantage for the World Record or History video. That was definitely notable for sure.
Yeah,
you like doing
got
the fun
outdated
skits.
Already.
That got outdated real quick. I mean, that's how it goes,
Yeah.
right? It's part of the point. You want to keep the progression going. But yeah,
there's been a lot of stuff happening there over on River Vantage.
For sure. Oh my gosh, that got really busy a couple weeks ago. Looking at your early game so far, you had a 204 chapter 1, which is surprisingly good start considering that single death on Stay Frosty. 204 is quite good.
I've had some 150s and starts.
That's
definitely
crazy. That's crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy good indeed. So yeah, continuing with your kind of Marble It Up experience, how long have you been playing the game? And how many hours have you put in? That kind of thing.
Marble It Up specifically, I think I started right around a year ago, actually. So, yeah, my anniversary for playing this game is probably coming up, a day or two.
Very cool. So, compared to a lot of the other runners who are in this same 37-ish minute category, you're relatively new. Yeah, you've managed to catch up and pass a lot of people along the way, which is very, very cool, I think.
I feel like I've just been getting a bit lucky with these runs. A lot of people, they do some runs. They're not always going to PB, but you just do runs to do them in practice. But I've been PBing a lot, I guess.
You can't deny that luck is a little bit of a factor, even though there's no RNG. But you're also improving. You're still improving quickly, which is, something that a lot of runners maybe get stuck in a certain rut for a little while and then takes a little while before they level up their gameplay, and then they're able to set a few PBs again. But we're kind of still approaching the point where we're going to see, what is your potential right now without any other big improvements. So I'm excited to see that.
I'm
personally.
sure if I keep running, I'm going to get to the point where I start struggling with it. And that may be the point that I choose to, like, not do it as much. I feel like it's fun now where I'm seeing improvement, like, happen from run to run, but, there's going to come a time where I just can't find improvement. I've just landed, like, really good runs consistently.
Yeah, absolutely. So how many hours have you put into Marble It Up so far?
I hit 1K recently.
1,000 hours.
A big
Jeez.
milestone, yep.
That's a lot of hours. That's more than I have. And I've been playing since 2018.
Oh boy.
Oh man. Yeah, but your individual level skills are undeniable, and you kind of come to prove that you can take that into the full game RTA space, and the competition here is heating up just by having you as a part of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people improving their RTAs around now, so
Definitely.
I think there's like around 20 people to sub 40. Just a drastic difference compared to a few months ago.
Yeah, or even like last year, at this time when we were getting ready for the Super Bowl, there was maybe 6 or 7 people with a sub 40 run. And now
Wow.
I believe we have 16 or maybe 17 on the leaderboards right now. So, very, very exciting.
Community's kind of nuts with it. Yeah.
Yep. You've had a great early game so far. 6 minutes and 22 seconds coming out of Chapter 2, which is a
not bad.
Really solid start. Really, really solid start. You could, you're on pace for all kinds of really big milestones with the 6:22 out of Chapter 2.
Of course, yeah.
And now the run gets started.
Yep.
Already saving crazy amounts of time. You're 38 seconds ahead after that first try sugar rush.
Yeah, this is the chapter where I pull ahead, and there was a kind of a mishap on EA there. I was going to go for the IL and realize I needed to jump up it. Have a somewhat consistent strat here. And I just I'm just out of it. I'm not really I have not touched any of these levels going into this. It's just sort of on a whim.
I mean, this was a warm-up run sort of for you in a way.
Yeah.
That being said, you had the kind of presence of mind not to restart when you missed the gem. So you can come in for this easy finish, which is definitely good. And we're
getting that level out of the way.
Yeah.
It's not an easy one for me.
No, it's not an easy one at all. I don't think anybody is completely consistent on elevator action, despite that being an intended skip.
Yeah, I've heard Spooky struggling with it too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've got VODs of every single runner in the top everything. Any runner who's gone for that skip in a run has missed it.
Yeah, I guess it's the way the curves are set up. It's
hard. It's hard. Now we're on to your signature level, River Vantage.
Oh yeah.
Man, you've got a clean start.
I always try to go for the skip on here. I get it sometimes. I got to say 4th of the time, but
you using that inside of that curve to stop when you were a little out of control there is also a really good move. Prevent yourself from going out of bounds. Even though you have the checkpoint, it still makes a difference.
I always try to be careful to not fall off at the edge. If you don't turn around fast enough, that can happen.
For sure. Oh, now there's your big lead, 51 seconds ahead.
Yeah, we don't talk about that run.
Do you have any other speedrunning experience before you got into Marble It Up, or any other competitive gaming experience?
Nothing that's too serious.
Okay.
I've played games here and there with the mindset of just trying to improve what I can personally do.
Right.
And that's just been fun to just whatever game I'm playing to just push my level of gaming to the max.
So you got that mindset already.
Yeah. Good mindset.
But as far as being a part of a competitive community or anything like that, Marble It Up would be a little unique in that sense?
Yeah, that'd be something definitely new too.
Ooh, that was a smooth tube. A little high, but
unfortunately
very
got a
smooth
high
in the
line.
tube. Yeah.
Yeah, but look at that time save over my old PB. That's just gonna be there for a while.
Man, 1 minute and 40 ahead. I can only dream. That doesn't happen very often.
Here's a level I never managed to make work. The ending.
Oh, the ending for this one? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Some people make it look so easy, but I maybe only recently kind of clicked for me of how to actually do it.
I try sliding, I try not bouncing. I can never get it to work. It's time loss every time.
Yeah, well, that's Time Capsule.
Yep.
All right, and we're on to Coggers. So again, your early game was solid, and so far your mid game also quite solid. And that's kind of in contrast to your previous run, where the mid game was a weakness for you for sure.
Chapter 3 was not the prettiest, specifically.
Have you found, like, in general, like, discounting those 2 runs, in general, you have a stronger or a weaker mid game?
I feel like my strongest point is like the later chapters, just not specifically in this run. Because if you just ignore this run and like look at some of my old runs, I actually have like mid 10s on some of my chapter 6s, which is not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. Yeah, so spoiler alert, the end game isn't the strongest part of this run. However, it does make sense that your end game would be one of your strongest generally. So I look forward to seeing how that plays out, maybe coming in with a clutch finish on Super Ball, perhaps. We'll be watching your career with great interest.
We'll definitely be working on trying to get a good run for that. Giving myself the best opportunity of not getting over 40 minutes.
Yeah, I think a lot of the invitational runners are just kind of hoping to get under 40 minutes. Even though, for some of them, just under 40 minutes will be the best they've ever done. So maybe that's a little bit too much to ask. But I'm expecting the invitational race to end after about 45, 50 minutes, realistically.
Yeah, it all just depends the kind of day you're having, I guess. Sometimes you're just not going to get the best run.
Not everybody's going to be at the top of their game, necessarily, and that's okay.
Yeah, but don't let that distract you from the fact that there's a lot of crazy runners up there at that level, though.
Oh, yeah.
So it's definitely going to be very competitive, fun to watch.
And based on how many high-level PBs are being set, like, every day, there are going to be a lot of runners at the top of their game at this event.
Yeah, people are starting to get consistent. Super Bowl's starting to roll around, and I'm just kind of, like, procrastinating on it.
Yeah, for sure. Chapter 4 going pretty smoothly as well. Any particular levels that you really enjoy in Chapter 4? Or any skips that you kind of dread doing?
In RTA?
Yes. Or individual levels as well.
Retrograde is a pretty cool one to do. I can't get it 100%, but I feel like that's the only big skip in this in this chapter.
Well, we've got Crystalline Matrix to look forward to. That one can be a little bit of a struggle for some people. Oh, pardon me. Diamond in the Sky. Yeah. Diamond in the Sky is the one that I meant.
It's a fun one, yeah.
I love level names because I know them all, but I still say the wrong one. That's just me. Oh, I love that smooth finish too.
Yeah, and I lost time on that because I think I had almost UT on the previous run on that one.
That's pretty crazy to get an ultimate time as defined by, like, the highest goal to set for yourself outside of a world record in the community. To land that in a full game run, that's pretty intense.
It always feels so good to land UT in RTA, especially on like levels like Deerheart. It's possible. I think I almost got it there.
Right. Acrophobia, not so much because of time travels, but you've got that skip at the beginning down very easily. And you are doing these curves all right. You play with controller or keyboard? I feel like I should know this.
I play with keyboard.
Keyboard, okay. And so, yeah, these curves are a little bit slower as a result. Not able to take advantage of those analog turns per se. However, you're still 1 minute and 50 seconds ahead now, which is insane.
I think the peak of my time save is coming up here. There's a point where it just like slowly declines. Not by much, but
yeah, I understand.
I don't think I ever hit like 2 minutes ahead. That would have been crazy.
That's you don't often see people 2 minutes ahead. Especially at this level where honestly there aren't that many minutes left to save. You know, if you've got a 58-minute time and you push it down to a 56 or 55, that's one thing. But when your PB is a 37-minute run and you're 2 minutes ahead, that's a really, really enormous difference.
Yeah, and I had to think about that the whole run.
Yeah. There's pressure on you for sure at this point of the run. You know, how do you deal with that pressure? Or how do you feel when you're in this kind of position?
I mean, I just try my best to like do what I would normally do, but you know, sometimes I just kind of like not focused enough. I feel like when I'm thinking about that too much. It's definitely a struggle in speedrunning when you're on such like a good pace and you have to like do your best to just like play how you normally play.
Yeah, I mean, there's different kinds of mentalities. Maybe, I guess the way I would think about it is kind of just like trying to hold on and not lose too much of the lead. But then, you know, not necessarily playing to shave every second off at that point. So, you know, there's different ways that people would approach it or think about it, but we can see you're still well ahead of your PB. Diamond in the Sky, very, very small error on Diamond in the Sky that actually ends up costing 11 seconds. But that's just the way it goes because it's so fast.
First skip, I kind of like forgot what I was doing. I just zoned out. You could see my camera just didn't move, and then I just realized, oh wait.
Yep, that happens. That happens when you're not completely focused. And you know what? That's one of the challenges of speedrunning, is that being completely focused and alert for 38 minutes or whatever amount of time that it takes. It's actually pretty draining.
Yeah, it's definitely more of a marathon full game.
Yeah, it takes a bit of a mental toll on you. Or you know, you put a certain amount of emotional energy and focus into it, and you know, some people deal with that in different ways. So,
this is definitely new for me, running a long game.
So I suppose, are we looking at a Staying Alive skip coming up here?
No, I don't do that.
No Staying Alive skip. See,
nope.
And you didn't have it in your previous PB either, and it was a 37. Dang,
nope.
dude. Dang, dude. Yeah, I can tell that you know, 37 no stand skip puts you well ahead of whatever kind of pace that other runners at this point of the run of a 37 would be.
That's true, yeah. A lot of people have been working on getting consistent ways to do that. I know Hiron's like, he's also a stock KVM player, and he's just been pouring a lot of time into it, and he's getting some results out of it.
I'm impressed with any kind of runner who goes for it. You know, again, I've put enough time into it to realize that I'm probably not going to get it too easily until some really consistent strategies have been developed.
Yeah, it's just so late in the game that like the time loss just doesn't feel worth it if you don't get it.
Yep, for sure it hurts.
It's like 20 minutes and then you reset if you just don't get it.
Pretty much. But, you know, compared to your previous PB, we're still a minute and 40 seconds ahead. 100 seconds, and we're into Gordian.
Yeah, after this level, it really starts picking up the pace. It's definitely a skill jump after this one, Crystalline coming out.
At Crystalline Matrix, then we've got Contraption. You know, Vertigo's coming up
Tough
there
skips.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then, you know, before you know it, we're into Chapter 6. So
I
at
hate
this
this
point,
momentum thing.
yeah. At this point, I'd like to know, like, what have you kind of set your sights on? What are your goals for this game, for this category, for individual levels, anything like that?
As far as RTA goes, I feel like I can probably max out my current strats at like 35, maybe a 34.
Okay.
And that would be probably where I stop that. But as far as ILs go, I think I missed this first try. Yeah. Right.
As
As far as ILs
so
go, yeah, it's hard. For ILs, I feel like I've picked a few levels that I've just been working on. And my goal is kind of like to just get a few world records just so I have enough to like safely be in a few for the rampage, which I have no idea when that's coming up, but it'd be really cool to be in like a community creation like that.
I believe the best estimate that we had was like mid to early 2020.
That didn't happen.
However, yeah, we don't actually know when that rampage is going to come out for real. But that's okay. That's okay. I think it's a fairly safe bet that you're going to be in the rampage if you keep up what you've been doing. Just based on the amount that you've progressed certain levels and taking world records and competing. You know, right up with some of the people who've been around since the game came out and have been at the top of their game. So very, very cool.
Yeah, definitely cool to see myself at such a level. If I saw where I would be at when I started playing a game, I probably wouldn't believe it. Like,
isn't that cool?
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
I never would have thought I'd have a record in anything.
I think that's
let alone
very,
a top
cool
5. I remember freaking out when I got my first top 5, and now I have like 30 something. It's crazy.
Crazy and impressive. Uphill both ways passed. We're on to flip the table. Vertigo's next. How's your Vertigo game?
On a good day, I can pull off a low 30 without too many problems.
Okay.
Some runs have, you know, had a death or two, but it's really not a bad level to die on considering how many checkpoints are there.
It is a very checkpoint heavy level for sure.
Yeah.
Which is why, yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a difficult level from a casual perspective, you know. I mean, a lot of casual players don't like it, but, you know, there's so many checkpoints, you only need to go a few meters in each direction, and then you're safe again. At least that's how it feels. Okay, stayed alive at the beginning. This level's so fun to watch, too.
A lot of edge hits and stuff that look hard, but can be very easy if you just jump at the right times, I guess.
Well, you've definitely got to have it practiced, and you can't be touching those rails when you jump, otherwise you're gone.
Oh yeah, I've done that too, plenty of times.
We all have.
It's always the worst part.
Yeah, coming out with a 35. Very, very solid, considering the start wasn't even the ideal start. But there's not much you can do about that. That's going to happen.
Guess spinner hit is what helps save a lot of time there.
Yeah, you really pushed the... a lot of people would have waited a cycle on that. Just the way that it was timing, you kind of got it at the last possible moment before you would have had to wait until the next cycle.
It can be facing down and you can still pull it off. It's just, I just like look at the spinner and just try to judge what kind of a cycle I'm on there.
Yeah, it's more of an art than a science. At least for the majority of runners. Alright, not going for pit skip or anything stupid like that.
Not that good. fallen behind a cycle. It's not too bad though.
Yeah, one cycle on Pit of Despair is what, 4 seconds?
3, 4, yeah.
Yeah, that's nothing to get concerned about for sure. And I guess Chapter 6 is what's going to make or break the majority of runs, including this one.
Well, I guess you could say nothing to be too concerned about, but when you kind of look at the run after it's all over,
Okay,
that kind of time, I would have loved to have just a few seconds.
I just want to take a moment to recognize 25 minutes flat out of Chapter 6, out of Chapter 5, sorry. No pit skip.
No stay and skip.
No stay and skip. 25 minutes is exceptionally fast. That is very, very, very good. There are not very many runners who can match that.
Yeah.
So, you know what? Even just that much, you know, congratulations. That's really good.
Thanks. I think at this point, I'm not gonna lie, I'm just like shaking a little. Because I just went into Chapter 6 knowing I was not prepared. I think a week prior to this run, I did some practice runs on Chapter 6, and the amount of times that I died on simple levels I should know, like Radius and Danger Zone, is just like absurd. I knew something was gonna go wrong here. But I got Danger Zone first try, that was good. And then I forgot how to do this. I don't know why I reset though.
Yeah, not necessarily a good time to reset, but, you know, if you're trying to set up this super speed, and you get it. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Yeah, man, I can't wait to see you race in the Super Bowl. You're going to be one of the ones to watch for sure. If anybody doesn't know, it's coming up on February 12th, which is not going to be a whole lot.
Saturday?
Yeah, it's going to be this Saturday if you're watching this when it premieres. February 12th of 2022.
Darn wall gem.
Darn wall gem. All right. So obviously Chapter 6 being the hardest chapter, both casually and for speedruns, unless you're kind of cracked at Chapter 3. There's a lot of tricks and skips, but also just kind of difficult movement and a lot of moving platforms you have to catch, things like that. How would you normally practice for Chapter 6 if you were trying to get consistent at RTA?
Well, most of the levels can go wrong some sort of fashion, really. So my best bet is to just sit down and do a few Chapter 6 runs.
Okay.
And just hope I can see some consistency there.
Is Chapter 6 the chapter you'd be most likely to do individual chapter runs on?
With my ILs, did you say individual chapters?
Yes.
Oh my bad. Individual chapters, something this long, probably not. I'd probably gravitate towards like earlier chapters.
Okay. That makes sense.
Even if they're a little more tedious. I missed this jump here. Did not judge that properly.
It looks like you were expecting to slide on the non-gravity surface before you did that.
I'm usually good with like not sliding and knowing when to jump, but I guess just not having practice. I always get this edge hit somehow.
That was a really cool edge hit, actually. That's kind of a last resort kind of thing for most people, but if you get that consistently, then
half my runs have had that save. It's not too bad when you're looking down, straight down at it.
So you're not trying to set it up. You're just like really, really good at landing.
I don't have a choice.
So you don't bother getting consistent at not needing to do it because you can just do it. That's cool.
The platforms have a mind of their own. I'm not always set up to just go straight into it.
For sure.
Still a minute 20 ahead.
That's crazy. That's
I don't
crazy.
go for this.
You're on 35 pace right now.
Yeah. All I'm thinking about is just like what could possibly go wrong.
Oh man.
Not the best mindset.
And if the viewers at home are feeling kind of an ominous feeling from the way that we're talking about this, Yeah, there's a reason for that, and it's coming up in the next few levels. Gonna take a little bit of a hit here as far as the time is concerned, but it's still a PB, and you know, as they say, a PB is a PB, and you kind of got to take what you can get and know what your time save's going to be for the next run.
Yep. Coming in escalation sub 30 is always good, but I'm never able to get this like first try. I always have problems with this. But I say that I did do like I think my second run where I finally got the sub. I came into escalation and I managed to like actually land like the IL first try, and I've never touched that level in so long. I was just in awe.
Yeah, this is a.
Other than that, I don't think I've first tried the normal route.
This is a difficult level for sure. I am going to levy a criticism at this run actually. If you maybe you could take this as advice, but the very first time that you step into this level, you get first try, first kickflip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is good because first try, first kickflip is probably the hardest one to do. But you don't get the checkpoint underneath the platform, and ultimately that's going to end up costing you about 30 seconds for not getting that checkpoint. I'm not sure how to pull a
backup off that. That's the problem.
I mean, basically, if you learn how to set up from the checkpoint and just do that every time, it costs you about 2 seconds from a perfect run. But it could end up saving you huge amounts of time for not needing to do that first kickflip over and over again in between second kickflip attempts.
Mm-hmm.
So where you could be, you know, about 30 seconds ahead here, you're going to be a little bit less ahead. And that's okay. You know what? That's, you know, it happens to everybody. But maybe a way in the future, if you're not 100% consistent on that second kickflip, getting that checkpoint there is going to end up saving you a lot of time in the long run.
That's definitely a backup I could look into, but I just wasn't sure how to do that at the time of the run.
Which, you know, and that goes to show, like, you're coming in here with a lot of talent, a lot of skill, but not necessarily a lot of RTA experience. And that's where you pick up on some of the things that, like that checkpoint, that come really in handy in RTA runs. But the fact that even without that experience, you've managed to get to the level that you are right now, that says so much about your potential and your talent for this game, and the skills you develop from individual levels.
And the individual levels definitely do help a lot. I wanted to note that this level hates me, Confluence, by the way. I've gotten desuctored on a few of my runs. Even being, like, far away from the destructors.
Well, I'm glad it didn't happen this time, because that would have been basically RIP PB. However, coming in on Olympus, and I think this is, in this case, where a little bit more of the danger lies.
Oh yeah, definitely. The hardest parts in this are that first like transition there. If I'm not going in the right direction, I try my best to force a hard bounce so I don't die there.
Right.
And then the part after rock skip's probably the only other hard part here. The rest of it's really just a pattern. If you sit down and practice it, it's not too bad.
Yeah, Olympus, means you got to sit down and practice Olympus, but you know, sometimes as a runner, it feels like no matter how much you practice this level, it's always going to throw something at you you don't expect. Maybe that's just a consequence of all the curved surfaces and all of the just how long it is. There's so many different permutations of what can happen as you go through this level.
And this part right here, when you're crossing over to the next section, it's not hard to fall between. Get a little too much height.
Oh, you managed it this time though. Have you, like, for Olympus, have you grinded this as an individual level? Do you have a PB in this level in particular that you've spent time on?
I do have a top 5 on this, yeah.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's like a low 202.
I'm sure that comes in handy in RTA runs.
Yeah, I remember putting a ton of time into this on like streams, just sitting on this level and trying to figure it out. It's a long level, which means it takes a while to learn. It's definitely a good one to have for RTA.
For sure, yeah. People who've run this level seriously in individual levels and kept up that skill have quite an advantage. 1 minute and 15 seconds ahead.
Tangle time.
Yeah, it's tangle time.
I had no problem at the beginning of this level.
Right.
Like I'm just doing it normally. You'll see that a problem happens here. That part can be difficult.
That strategy is
here,
so
I just
interesting.
look up and then I realize
what's
there's
your
no way I
backup
can
here?
fix it.
Oh, okay.
I just restart. It's Tangle.
I will again. I'll take the moment to point out there is a backup, and you can see that super jump down below you. If you pick that up, it is possible to get back up with it. But when it comes to backups, you have to have learned them before.
Yeah.
Because trying to ad-lib a backup in the middle of a run and just kind of wing it doesn't work.
And not being able to get the spinner hit anymore.
Work. Yeah, so I can't blame you for not doing that because you hadn't practiced it, but it's definitely good to know when you might need those backups in the future.
Definitely worth learning some backups, yeah. But when I'm this far ahead on my pace, I know my best bet is to just restart because I'll probably get it the next try. Unfortunately, I didn't get it the next 5 tries. So.
Yep. And again, that's an RTA experience thing. Backups for sure. And again, just want to throw out how crazy it is that you've gotten to the point that you are without even knowing some of these backups. And you know, you like how many attempts of full game have you even done?
Not even 10.
Not even 10. That's insane. Like 6 or 7. That's insane.
Run.
Absolutely nuts. And I think you
definitely,
if you put in the same number of attempts as the top 2 or 3 runners, you will at least be contending with those top 2 or 3 runners. I guarantee it.
I mean, it gets to a point though where there's some certain skips involved, and sometimes it's just like kind of discouraging to miss a skip and realize the run's kind of thrown that late into the game.
Yeah, for sure.
The people at the top of the RTA boards are just so mentally prepared for this, and I just can't see myself at that point.
Oh, you might think they are, but that's not always the case. And you know what? That's another thing that comes with experience more so than any kind of skill or talent is, you know, when you've thrown 100 runs already, or 200 runs or 300 runs already, it's a lot easier to deal with it than it does the first few times, for sure.
Yeah.
That said, we had an unfortunate time loss there on Tangle, but
I'm still 20 seconds ahead, right?
Still 20 seconds ahead.
I'm expecting to get a PB, no problem here. Yeah, we're right here at the end of the run. Oh, what was that? Did I just miss a feather fall?
Missing a feather fall, and now you've got to be panicked over potentially missing this PB.
I think at this point, I just kind of realized it wasn't happening. But I just went into the bowl anyways. See what I get.
Barely getting enough speed. You're gonna clear this bowl, and
oh, I'm definitely gonna clear it. I think I jumped too many times, but there we go. The 1 frame PB.
The personal best by a single frame.
Wait, let me return my.
Hold on, let's go back. 1 sec. Pardon me. YouTube autoplay, am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a personal best by a single frame, minus 0.0 on your splits, and I think that's the first time that's ever happened.
Really?
The first time I've ever seen a runner get that particular delta at the end of their splits. 37, 11, 78. This comes like how many days after your previous PB? Like it's got to be like a week or something.
Couple weeks, I think. Yeah.
Couple weeks, and I'm sorry, it's funny. It's funny that you would basically tie your PB. But I'm also, oh man, I feel the pain here of being a minute and 40 seconds ahead, a minute and 15 seconds ahead going into a tangle. and losing a lot of that time. I think that is something that most, if not all, RTA runners have experienced, but not tying your PB. That's a new one.
Probably would have done some more runs after this, but just after something like that happening, I just kind of think whenever I'm gonna do a run, it's just like, do I really want to do this? Like, this is gonna happen again.
Yep, that's
or something similar.
That's gonna take an emotional toll, I think, for sure. Crazy run though. Early and mid game were superb. You know, even even all the way up to escalation, a minute and 34. That's insane.
Escalation's tough for me. If there's one I should practice before doing a run, it's always that one. I always try to put a ton of practice in. But I wanted to talk about like what happened on Tango with that super jump, because I've noticed like that sort of super jump has just not been working for me sometimes, and like ILs too.
Right.
I'll notice I just don't get height, and I think for some reason my keyboard is just having trouble registering like the space bars sometimes, which is just not a good thing.
Yeah, for sure, that could be challenging.
And that just kind of sucks that happened, right there at the point where I'm 115 ahead.
Yeah,
and then after that, I couldn't do it 6 times.
So you had the height of a single super jump without the jump going ahead of it. So you know, definitely a tragic loss on your part.
The jump must have registered later or something. Yeah.
You know, it's too bad. But I do look forward. This is really showing that you have potential to nail this new PB, although there's a chance that you're going to be in the red for most of it. And that's just
I have to learn to accept that.
Kind of the curse of having a really good early and mid game is knowing that you have a minute and 30 seconds to save later on in the run. So even if you're a minute behind in the mid game, it could still be worth going, depending on, you know, how the run's going so far up to that point. But
and on this week going up to Super Bowl, I'm planning to like try to work on getting the first 5 chapters as consistent as I can. I think the hard parts are probably chapters 3 and 5, since they have the actual skips in them.
Yes.
But if I can get like more consistent with those 5 chapters, I don't think I'll have a problem PBing. Be good to see.
Very cool. Anything else you'd like to say as we wrap up our Speedrunner Showcase?
Not much, other than I look forward to the Super Bowl. It's gonna be fun.
Can't wait. It's gonna be fun for sure. All right, thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all in the next Speedrunner Showcase.
Peace out.
See ya.